Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Today is the day we've all been waiting for. The World Championship begins in just a few hours time, and there are realistically 4 teams that can probably win this event. The top 4 teams that have won 1 major each this entire season: FaZe, Subliners, Toronto, and then of course OpTic Texas. Dashy clearly absolutely locked in for this weekend. Is it going to be enough to make the run in this home city of Dallas for this OpTic team? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Wow, excited for things to get underway today. Thanks as well to Zuma for the invite to this. There's lots of fun last night. Haven't played football in years. Okay, soccer for my American friends who went round the corner locally and got the boys together. I know that Zuma was streaming it. It might go up like some of the videos probably on like the Zuma live channel, I think, at some point. So maybe stay tuned for that. I didn't really have anything to play in, so I had to play in jeans, which weren't ideal. And I'm not great at football anyway, to be fair. It wasn't really my sport when I was younger. But yeah, still always good fun. Got a bit injured though, so I'm gonna be probably hobbling around for the next couple of days. But it was worth it, absolutely. So that was a great day one of the event before things really get underway today. Before we get there though, this is the Esports World Cup. Confirmation yesterday of the 11 teams that will be there. So no gorillas, as we rumoured. They're literally just going to say we're not going to bother turning up. So that is rough for those guys, and this is probably a reason why the likes of ReeaL and, let's say, DiamondCon, they've been linked to joining the Minnesota Rocker, who are going to play under G2 Esports. That's going to be their header because of the ownership relationship and all that type of stuff. I will say, OpTic Gaming, 100 Thieves, G2 Esports, backing COD as those respective teams is beautiful, and we'll discuss more on that in just a couple of seconds. But if you are ReeaL DiamondCon and you're getting offers from Rocker to say, hey, you want to leave Gorillas and come to us, even if Gorillas have a great world championship, like at that point you got to think, well, why would I not take this offer to go and play a $1.8 million tournament and cash in a load of money? Like, that's probably going to be something to think about. And the prize pool is mega. It's like 600k first place, 320k second place, and even it goes down to the teams that finish basically dead last still get some money. But crucially, it's Atlanta FaZe, it's Toronto Ultra, it's Las Vegas Legion. The Atlanta FaZe one is very interesting because FaZe Clan are there, are they not? Or I'm pretty sure FaZe Clan were invited as one of the clubs. OpTic Gaming weren't. But I don't imagine that it took much convincing the Saudis to be like, hey, can we come as OpTic Gaming? And I'm sure they were like, yeah, absolutely, let's run it. So they're going to play as OpTic Gaming for the first time in years. I mean, this is going to be, doesn't maybe really matter. It's going to probably be the same team they've got now, but depends, I guess, on what they do at Champs in terms of what roster they bring. But it's been OpTic Texas, it's been OpTic Chicago, it's even been, Chicago Huntsman, or technically OpTic Gaming Los Angeles on the early days of the CDL when it wasn't really ReeaL OpTic. But it's been a long time since OpTic Gaming have played in any sort of tournament, and this is going to be OpTic Gaming rather than OpTic Texas, which is actually really cool. So Cloud9, of course, is going to be the Subliners team, probably a very similar team to what they currently have, but as I say, depends on the results at Champs. Vegas Legion have accepted it, Boston Breach. Heretics is going to be, of course, Heretics, of course, are going to play under Team Heretics rather than Miami. Then you've got Seattle Surge. Interesting for Surge, technically, I guess they maybe could have come under Luminosity Gaming, because they're kind of part of that, but they're not going to. Carolina will Ravens, and then the Boston Breach are going to be there as well. So everyone but the Gorillas has accepted the invitation, which is actually, good to see, because there was some concern that other teams might have declined it. And I wanted to see, all the teams there if possible, and that's basically what we are seeing here. So probably they're going to have one more either invited team, or they're going to have an additional challengers team qualifier. And, as Jake Hell says, there's a little bit of confusion here, because OpTic and Heretics, for example, are actually not in the program. And also Toronto, they have KOI, which is a brand under their overactive media heading that they could have used, but they decided not to, because I think the preferences from the Toronto team right now is that actually Ultra is like the brand they want to run with to potentially cover like their entire organization at some point. So there's lots of interesting nuances and things happening behind the scenes right now. But, there's discussion on why FaZe are there, but then going to be running as Atlanta FaZe, but really who cares? I mean, we want to see the teams out there playing for what is going to be a big and important tournament, but not as big as important as this game this upcoming weekend. Now, Clayster is back on the desk. I thought this was really cool to see. He killed it when he was on there at times last year, and he's back on the desk for the World Championship after, of course, not making it in the end. So Clay is a desk analyst. Obviously, we've got Lottie here. I think he's going to be doing some stage hosting in addition to the standard crew. And genuinely, guys, when you see the shots of this venue today and over the coming days and some of the ideas I've heard they've got plans for what they're going to do over the course of the weekends to really make this a special event, I think this is going to be mega. It should be like the biggest and potentially best event we've ever had in COD history, at least in terms of the way that it's going to be run. Whether we get the storylines to match, that's another question, and at least in terms of the ideas, who knows if there's going to be tech issues, whatever, but if all things go to plan, this should be like the best COD event ever based on what I've heard, but we'll see if as I say, the storylines, we need OpTic to make a run if it's going to go down in history, you know what I'm saying. But as Clay says, he really did send me back to the desk, right? So Scrappy obviously was talking all this trash to Clay. To be fair to Scrappy, even at the start of the season, I'm pretty sure he said, give me a few months, Clay, I'm going to send you back to the desk, and while you're there, you better gas me while I'm at it, all type thing, because, clearly they were having a back and forth, and obviously Clay's giving him ammunition here, but Clay isn't going to say no, is he? He's not going to be like, I'm not, CDL, you want me on the desk? I ain't doing it because it's going to make Scrappy roast me even harder type thing. Obviously, Clay's going to say, all right, sure, let me lock in and get on the desk of the World Championship. Yeah, as he says, he really did send me back to the desk, and he then goes on to say, seriously, I appreciate the COD League for offering me the opportunity, excited to flex the COD brain up there again. So Clay was great when he was on there last year at times, and I think it's going to be a similar story once again. This I thought was funny though, like Dashy. So Ben, anyway, across the road, there's so many food places nearby the venue. It's just like a massive parking lot. I've been to a couple of places similar, but Texas definitely does it different in terms of the scale of this stuff. And anyway, Ben was over at Rudy's, and clearly TJ and Dashy were like, oh, wow, this is not maybe the best place. I don't know much about, the spots to go and everything. People are going to give recommendations, of course. But actually, Scrappy and Dashy get into a bit as well. And Scrap says, can we all agree Texas has got awful foods? They're forgetting the #1 rule of quality over quantity, he says. But clearly there was many in the replies disagreeing. And Dashy was like, oh, I've got to hit up Rudy's while you're here, bro. That place is fire. Obviously taking the mick out of what Ben had tweeted out shortly before that. But let's talk about the OpTic boys, because of course, it is their home event. It's run by OpTic in some ways. It's not, technically an OpTic event. It's not an OpTic home series. Not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but having been around the venue, it's not like there's OpTic banners everywhere and anything like that. Looks like the World Championship. You wouldn't know that OpTic are hosting it, at least as of now. Sure, they've got some partners and stuff, but yeah, I think they're doing a killer job of executing on this. The question is, how can their team do this weekend? Scump actually gave his thoughts as well on this. One of the specific instances which is going to make or break their champs. I think what Scump's getting at here is certainly the search and destroy. What I'm looking for really is what happens today, the final series of the day, OpTic versus Los Angeles Grillers, Game 2, right? Because that's going to be the search and destroy. Whatever happens Game 1, whatever happens after that, I think the Game 2 is going to be very telling, because if OpTic can break their search and destroy loss streak early, they're in with a chance to make a run. But I do think, as Scump says, that Karachi search is going to be critical for their tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it right there and just throw something in. Karachi, in my opinion, Karachi search is going to be one of the maps that make or break our champs. Because obviously at the last event, Major 3, well, 2 events ago, Major 3, the reason why we won the event was Invasion, Search, and Destroy. Okay? I mean, straight up. We got Invasion, Search, and Destroy, Map 5 versus New York. We got Invasion, Search, and Destroy, Map 5 versus FaZe. We got Invasion, Search, and Destroy, Map 2 versus Toronto in the Grand Finals. Now, everybody sees that. They're vetoing that map. And we've been playing a lot of Karachi, a lot of 6-star, a lot of different maps. So we need to get, obviously, those maps up to speed, because teams are probably not going to play us on Invasion. I'm assuming they're not going to play us on Invasion of Champs. And by the way, we haven't won a search in 2 months. So
Kenny, of course, talked about this yesterday. We saw his quote when he was like, look, team's feeling great. Can't wait to see you guys there at the World Championship. Buzzing to get back in business and really, level up the play to an even new level. But this, I thought, was a pretty hard damn shot here from MettalZ, right? So MettalZ, of course, I think it was yesterday afternoon. Yeah, so he tweeted this out at 6 p.m. Pretty sure the casters got there at 4, 5 to do some rehearsals, this type of stuff. And obviously the backstage, they've got the player areas. It's, it's a phenomenal venue. There's so much space in there. I think the players don't have their own rooms maybe as they did at the Esports Stadium Arlington, but there's only 8 teams, so I guess it's probably going to be fine. And I'm assuming that the other OpTic guys were also maybe here. They were turning up to play some practice, as got the water bottles and all this. But Dashy was obviously there ahead of the game, right? They were a little bit early getting set up, and this shot I thought went pretty hard. So yeah, the guy is obviously wanting to get the ring this time because the first World Championship that Dashy played at was way back in 2017. I think, was he still on straight ripping then? I think he was. And ever since then, he's been on various teams. The best that Dashy's done is, a top 3, right? I mean, let's say 2019, that OpTic team were 3rd place that year behind 100 Thieves and, of course, behind United in the end. So, Dashy's played 8 World Championships. He's not made a Grand Finals yet. This would be the time to do it. And, of course, you make your Grand Finals, you want to win the damn Grand Finals. So, they're going to have all the support. And as I say, for this event to really go down in history as one of the best ever, which I think it should, OpTic need to make a run. And I know there was talk about, the lack of hype for the tournament and stuff like that, but I think in person it's going to be absolutely insane. Like, the center stage venue and all these other factors I think are going to contribute to a real killer event if everything goes to plan. But, we need the consideration for the pro players themselves, because on paper, this is a great tournament. We've got 4 teams coming in who have won 1 event each with a chance to win the entire thing. But the issue is that the biggest team and the team that has been, is actually hosting the event and like the biggest basically fan base that you're going to have in the entire venue, you need OpTic to make the run, really, right? I mean, Champs Sunday, I'm sure, is going to be great. It's going to be the Grand Finals. But as long as OpTic at least makes Saturday, and, because it's going to be a packed-out crowd, I think, on those days, then we have something on our hands. That's what I want to see, really, to make the most of this possibility. But, as OpTic tweet out, a few hours till game day. So they were getting the preparation in. A couple of shots here as well. This is actually inside the venue, so they're not really going to give too much away here of what the venue looks like. But you guys can kind of see in the background, this is where they're set up. And you've got, the kind of banner that goes around the entire venue, like TV screen banner type thing, right? So it says Championship Weekend 2024, whatever that is. And, this is another shot of the boys on center stage. And this is on the outside of the venue, one of the entrances. So, yeah, looking forward to this today. Of course, Challenges is also happening. I'm pretty sure it starts tomorrow. So today is going to be basically scrims for the Challenges players. It's not a massively secluded area the Challenges guys are going to be. So, I don't know how loud it's going to be for the crowd and stuff for there. I was talking with the team about it briefly yesterday. But, so this is Puckett, though, spotting Purjay, who's on his way to the Challengers World Championship in first class. First class, first row, first place, he says, the returning champ. So we'll see how they get on this event. But, of course, we have some games of today. These are the records, by the way, of the teams at the World Championship. In 4 years of the CDL, we've had 4 different organizations win an event. For that to change this year, we would have to have either Subliners go back-to-back or, of course, FaZe to win another one. But if Toronto win, if OpTic win, then again, there's another new winner, at least in terms of organizations, to get over the line here. And I guess that would be true for, okay, Kenny's already won a championship in the CDL, Shotzzy's already won a world championship in the CDL era on, obviously, Thieves and Dallas respectively, but still, for the organizations, that'd be pretty cool to see. Some of these guys, of course, haven't even made many world championships, which is why their record doesn't look maybe so good. Maybe surprising to see that OpTic's record is just, not historically great at champs, but of course this year can always be the exception, and FaZe have been 3rd, 2nd or 1st every single time, but there's no other organization that can boast anything quite like that. These are the 4 games of today in order. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do them in order anyway. Subliners, the defending world champions versus the Seattle Surge. This I know was talked about as a potential upset series. It's 3-1 to New York this season. My feeling is that New York are just, they're one of these teams that will likely peak at the right time. They've done it before. I think they're going to do it again. I think New York are a serious threat this tournament. Like, obviously, they literally won the most recent major, but I feel like maybe there isn't quite as much talk around New York as there should be. Like, they did this same thing last year, and I feel like there's a very good chance they could do it again. Kismet maybe has finally got to grips with the game, the way he wants to play. The team looks like they're in a good spot. And, the team was built at the start of the season when they brought in Sib to try and do this. Their feeling was they couldn't go back-to-back with Priestahh. They brought in Sib. It didn't work out initially. They learned, they improved, and now it feels like they're in position to actually capitalize and potentially try and win it again. So that'd be an incredible story. I think I'm going to favor them in this series. We've then got FaZe versus Miami. I don't know if Miami truly believe that they can win this. I think that's one of the problems, really, is that, FaZe will likely win, but also, are Miami going in thinking we're going to win, or are they going in thinking let's just take a map? Because if they're thinking that, then it's probably chalked before it's even started. As I've said over the last few days, I don't really see Toronto losing this one to Thieves. I think a Game 5 is definitely possible, but if it gets there, I think that I don't trust Thieves as ice in those type of situations, especially given the setup and everything like that. And then this is the big one, though, really, the final game of the day. So far this year, OpTic have won both times they've played the Los Angeles Grillers. But Grillers were third most recently, and OpTic won the event at Major 3, but didn't happen at Major 4. So look, I think OpTic are going to win. I think I'm going to take them in 4, but that Game 2 Search and Destroy is massively important. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.